Okay, welcome back to another session of the Gray Inn. Let's continue. Things have gotten really exciting. We've been dealing with the leader of the cult leader, as now he is a weird, shadowy, disfigured creature of sorts, being possessed by some cosmic entity. Don't know quite yet which one, but here is the last response we left off, just getting some character NPCs added to our list. So, let's see, where do we leave off here? Alright, so stand back. Officer Sales is very lucky for us. Okay, so the new officer shows up. Officer Pike. Glow from the woods brighter. There's also the employee who's being caught up in all of this. Cold bodies twitches slightly in the snow. Okay, so let's figure out what to do next. I'm going to say a story hack where one of the officers is worried for the people. Officer Pike is the more reasonable one. Officer Murray seems to be the skeptical one. I think one of these officers is going to be worried for the safety of people inside the hotel. As we continue, which officer would be most worried for the occupants of the hotel as the creature gets closer?
Officer Murray would likely be the most concerned about the hotel occupants. His cautious and skeptical nature makes him more likely to prioritize securing innocent civilians, especially given the chaos that has unfolded. He might suggest retreating to the hotel to protect the guests and regroup. Officer Pike, on the other hand, seems more action-oriented and focused on confronting the immediate threat. He'd probably lean toward taking the fight to the creature or the source of its power in the woods. Their differing priorities could create tension or a decision point depending on how you proceed.
That's some wise advice. Let's say I will offer the idea to go back into the hotel with Officer Murray or the employee while they try to fend off the creature.
You quickly turn to Officer Murray and the shaken employee. "Let's get back inside the hotel," you urge. "It's not safe out here, and we need to protect the people inside." Officer Murray hesitates, his eyes flickering between the twitching creature in the snow and the glowing woods. After a tense moment, he nods. "You're right. We can't leave the hotel guests exposed to whatever the hell this is." He gestures to the employee, who looks eager to get as far away from the scene as possible. You, inside now. As Murray begins to escort the employee toward the hotel entrance, Officer Pike steps forward, gripping his gun tightly. "I'll keep it distracted. That thing isn't staying down, and I'm not letting it get any closer to the building." The glow from the woods pulses again, and the cult leader's body twitches violently as if preparing to rise. What do you do? 1. Follow Murray and the employee into the hotel, focusing on regrouping inside. 2. Stay outside with Pike to help fend off the creature. 3. Shout at Pike to retreat with you instead of engaging further. 4. Slip away from both groups entirely, taking your duffel bag with you. 5. Right in.
Well, we've been caught up in all of this, and I've been playing a team player, I guess I should say. I don't know if that's really out of character for the moment, but it is in my character's bio that where is it? He regrets his past life of crime. So I don't know if he's trying to turn over a new leaf, but he's trying to stem away from his criminal background. So it's hard to say. This is where roleplay kind of becomes a little difficult for me in these very high stake moments. So I think that I might go inside or there could be more shenanigans. But I'm going to yell at the officer, Officer Pike, or maybe I won't go inside at all. I'm going to say to Officer Pike, aim for the book. I yell at Officer Pike to find a way and destroy that book. And he seems confused at the idea. Any skill required for this? Get my dice here, just in case. This one's kind of a blend of altering the story and doing a skill check.
To convince Officer Pike to focus on destroying the book, you would roll Persuade to clearly explain its importance, or Fast Talk to urge him into action without fully understanding. If you want to intimidate him into following your lead, you could roll Intimidate instead. Let me know which skill you'd like to use.
Persuade. 47 or less. 69. 69. I failed the Persuade roll.
Officer Pike hesitates, his face twisted with confusion as you shout about the book. The book? What the hell are you talking about? What book? His grip on his gun tightens, and he takes a defensive stance, his attention fixed on the creature twitching in the snow. I'm not running into the woods on some wild goose chase, Pike barks. We deal with what's in front of us first. The glowing woods continue to pulse ominously, and the creature begins to rise, its grotesque form moving unnaturally as the whispers grow louder. Officer Murray, already retreating toward the hotel with the employee, glances back at the commotion. "Whatever you're doing, make it fast!" he shouts. What do you do next? 1. Stay and help Pike deal with the creature, focusing on stopping its immediate threat. 2. Try again to convince Pike to target the woods, using a different approach, another skill. 3. Leave Pike to his decision and retreat into the hotel with Murray and the employee. 4. Take matters into your own hands and head toward the woods to destroy the book yourself. 5. Write in.
I have an idea. So, in this picture is the Gray Inn. It's the establishing shot. All of the things happening right now is roughly in this outdoor area, in the parking lot, except with snow. There's a picture I have of the town Duskhaven, which I don't even think GPT knows the name of, but it doesn't really matter at this moment. I'm going to show you guys a picture that I will be foreshadowing something in the next few responses. So this picture here was my first generated image of Duskhaven. I haven't used it yet. I don't think I have. And there's this amazing shadowy hand kind of peeking over the horizon, about to take over, grip onto the town. This was inspired by the Nosferatu movie, where Nosferatu's hand shadow goes over the city where he ends up in the movie. So I want this to be the cosmic entity, the Cthulhu mythos, whatever the AI wants to create it, choose for it to be taking over the city. So we will hint to this in the next response. Here is another story hack. The creature is becoming impatient and uses the book's power to conjure a gigantic shadowy hand that appears to be revealing itself over the horizon to overshadow the entire town. Let's see how it takes this one. It's like apocalyptic level event.
The tension in the air is shattered as an unnatural tremor ripples through the ground. The whispers emanating from the woods intensify into a deafening roar. From the horizon, an enormous shadowy hand emerges, stretching impossibly high into the sky.
This one.
Its fingers curl and twist unnaturally, as if clawing at the heavens, and it begins to descend toward the town with a slow but menacing inevitability. The snow around you grows darker, the light from the town's street lamps dimming as the shadow engulfs everything in its path. The employees, officers, and any remaining onlookers freeze, their faces pale with terror. The cult leader's broken form shudders and lets out a guttural, triumphant laugh as the hand's form becomes more distinct, its sheer scale dwarfing anything natural. Officer Murray stammers, his voice cracking. What the hell is that? Officer Pike takes a step back, his earlier bravado faltering. You weren't kidding. This is way above anything we're prepared for. The hand continues its descent, the whispers now a cacophony of maddening tones. What do? 1. Shout to everyone to retreat into the hotel for safety, regrouping inside. 2. Demand that Officer Pike focus on the book as the source of this calamity, intimidate or persuade. 3. Make a break for the woods yourself, determined to destroy the book. 4. Leave everyone behind and attempt to flee the town entirely. 5. Write in.
This is entirely a sanity check. Confidently I can say that. So, would this be a time to roll for sanity as we're witnessing a gigantic cosmic entity about to reveal itself?
Yes, absolutely. Witnessing a massive cosmic entity or its manifestation, such as the gigantic shadowy hand,
You're
calls
right.
for a sanity sand check. This is a direct encounter with the unnatural,
Yep.
and even the hint of its vastness can shake the human mind to its core. Please roll for SAN, and let me know the result.
All right, 62.
If failed, we'll roll for the potential SAN loss based on the scale of this encounter.
Ooh, 91. I failed the roll. Not roll. Okay.
You lose 2 as the sheer impossibility of the shadowy hand claws at your mind. Though shaken and filled with dread, you manage to keep yourself from spiraling into total panic. The enormity of the entity remains overwhelming, but you can still act. What do you do next? 1. Shout to everyone to retreat into the hotel for safety. 2. Urge Officer Pike to destroy the book in the woods as the apparent source of the chaos. 3. Head toward the woods yourself, determined to stop this before it's too late. 4. Freeze for a moment, trying to comprehend the magnitude of what you're witnessing. 5. Write in.
4. I remain frozen, trying to comprehend what I'm seeing. I can't speak. IR fire.
You stand frozen in place, your mind struggling to grasp the enormity of the shadowy hand looming over the town. The whispers burrow into your thoughts, growing louder and more incomprehensible with every passing moment. Time seems to warp, each second stretching into an eternity as the cosmic entity's power bears down on you. Around you, the others begin to react. Officer Murray shouts, his voice cracking, "We need to move, now! Get to the hotel!" He grabs the employee, who is nearly catatonic with fear, and begins pulling him toward the entrance. Officer Pike backs up slowly, staring at the hand. What are we even supposed to do against that?" he mutters, his earlier bravado completely shattered. The ground trembles slightly as the hand continues to descend, its shadow stretching across the town like a harbinger of doom. You feel the world spinning around you, but a faint thought creeps into your mind. This all started with the book. What do you do? 1. Snap out of your stupor and run to the woods to destroy the book. 2. Follow Officer Murray into the hotel for safety. 3. Attempt to call out to the others, urging them to focus on the woods. 4. Collapse, unable to move, letting the chaos unfold around you. 5. Write in.
I think I'm going to go after the book. Thinking of the book, I'm going to try to find a way and circle around to take a shot at it with my knife. To pierce the book itself. Any skill? Stealth?
To pierce the book, you'd need to roll throw, if you intend to hurl the knife from a distance, or dex if you're closing the gap to strike with precision up close.
Let's see.
Alternatively, you could roll luck to determine if you can get close enough without interference.
I have no luck.
Let me know your choice and roll.
I'll do dex. Which is 65. 23. I had a success dexterity roll.
You steel your nerves, gripping the knife tightly, and begin to circle around toward the woods. The shadowy hand looms higher, the whispers growing louder, but your determination overrides your fear. Each step through the snow feels heavier, but you manage to reach the edge of the forest where the book's eerie glow pulses faintly. The creature, still recovering from the crash, doesn't seem to notice your movement as its attention remains on the cosmic power it's summoning. With a steady hand, you lunge forward and drive the blade into the leather-bound book. The impact sends a shockwave through the ground as the book emits a blinding light. A deafening, otherworldly scream erupts, and the whisper...
Actually, I don't want it to be that easy. Slight change in the last story. Instead of my character being able to stab the book so easily, as I am circling through the woods, I'm trying to remember how the creature, the cult leader, has been able to summon the entity without the sacrifice from earlier. Let's say that the hand is not fully developed and appears to be weakening at some extent. When I come across the cult leader, he is actually holding the book and takes notice of me as I get close. There. Just to kind of fix a few things, because it's like, how does he summon this giant hand without the sacrificial process?
As you circle through the woods, the whispers reverberate in your mind, fragments of earlier events clawing their way back into your thoughts. The ritual, the altar,
There you go.
the screams of the woman who was meant to be sacrificed. It strikes you. The summoning was never completed. Whatever the cult leader is doing now, it's unstable, incomplete. Perhaps why the gigantic hand seems to flicker and weaken, its shadow not fully formed. You push forward through the snow-laden woods, the eerie glow of the book growing stronger. Then you see him, the cult leader, grotesque and half-decayed, cradling the book in his twisted arms. The dark ichor dripping from his body feeds the pulsating light of the tome. The leader's head jerks unnaturally as he senses your presence. His vacant eyes lock onto you, and he lets out a guttural growl, clutching the book tighter. "You dare return?" he snarls, his voice layered with otherworldly echoes. The Great One's arrival cannot be stopped. The ground trembles faintly, and the shadowy vines begin to stir once more, curling protectively around the cult leader. What do? 1. Lunge at the cult leader with your knife, aiming to strike him directly, fighting check. 2. Attempt to grab the book from him in a desperate struggle, STR or dex check. 3. Distract him with words, stalling for an opportunity to act, fast talk or intimidate check. 4. Retreat to regroup and come up with a better plan. 5. Write in.
Let's say he opens the book and tries to recite a passage, perhaps a spell, and I would use this moment to attempt to grab the book from him, knowing I need to destroy it. Okay, looks like we'll use the other one.
The cult leader cackles, his voice a broken, gurgling mockery of humanity. As he opens the book, the glow intensifies, casting unnatural shadows across the trees. He begins to chant, the guttural, alien words reverberating in the still air. The shadowy hand above flickers, momentarily regaining some of its shape. Realizing the danger, you surge forward, determined to grab the book from his decayed hands before he can complete the incantation. Roll dex for a quick grab or STR for a forceful snatch to see if you can seize the book before it's too late.
Do a forceful snatch, so we'll use strength.
Let me know the result.
21, okay. I rolled successfully for strength, But then the creature alludes that I am the one who will be sacrificed, as he was trying to trick me.
As you lunge forward, your strength overpowering the decayed cult leader, you rip the book from his grotesque hands. The glow pulses violently in your grip, and the cult leader stumbles back, his twisted grin widening. "You're stronger than I thought," he rasps, his voice layered with malice and delight. "But strength alone won't save you. You've played right into the Great One's plan." His laughter echoes through the woods as the ground beneath you begins to shift unnaturally. Shadowy vines erupt again, but this time they don't aim for him, they aim for you. "The ritual is incomplete," he hisses. "A sacrifice is needed, and who better than the fool who interferes with destiny?" The book grows heavier in your hands, its glow searing into your skin. The air around you becomes suffocating as the vines creep closer. What do you do? 1. Try to destroy the book immediately, slamming it into the ground or tearing it apart, fighting or STR check. 2. Drop the book and retreat, avoiding becoming the target of the ritual. 3. Attempt to use the book against him, reciting something to counter his spell, occult or luck roll. 4. Shout for help, hoping the officers hear you and intervene. 5. Write in.
I have an idea. This might be silly. We'll see. Because this is kind of a solo RPG, we're using AI. I'm still kind of the keeper at times, trying to push the story along. I have an idea. My duffel bag that's around my back falls out, and all the cash spills onto the floor, onto the snow-covered floor. The cult leader, with his very small ounce left of humanity, sees the cash and lets greed take over, possibly having an eternal fight with the Great One and his own human greed. I don't know. I was thinking, where's the duffel bag in all of this? It's like around my back, so I'm thinking, why not just let it fall out? That's a lot.
As you grip the glowing, searing book, your movements jostle the duffel bag slung over your shoulder. It slips off, falling to the snowy ground with a heavy thud. The zipper bursts open, and stacks of cash spill out, fanned across the frost-covered forest floor. The faint light from the book reflects off the money, a stark and surreal contrast to the supernatural chaos surrounding you. The cult leader's decayed form freezes, his grotesque grin faltering. His hollow eyes lock onto the cash, and for a fleeting moment, something resembling humanity flashes across his face. Greed. Pure, unbridled greed. He stumbles forward, his attention drawn entirely to the scattered bills. "So much power, so much wealth," he mutters, his voice trembling with longing. He collapses to his knees, clawing at the snow to grab the money, his decayed hands clutching at the stacks with manic desperation. The glowing book pulses in your hands, and the shadowy vines momentarily falter. The cosmic whispers grow distorted, as if the Great One itself is angered by the cult leader's distraction. The ground quakes again, and the cult leader's form begins to twist unnaturally, his greed warring with the eldritch power still tethered to him. This might be your only chance. What do you do? 1. Take advantage of his distraction and destroy the book immediately, fighting or STR check. 2. Leave the book and retreat while the cult leader is consumed by his own greed. 3. Use the moment to turn the book's power against the cult leader, reciting something from its pages, occult or luck roll. 4. Grab as much of the cash as you can and run, leaving the cult leader to his fate. 5. Write in.
Do the vines still grip me, or can I grab my knife? If there are vines. Okay, so we'll have to use this.
With the cult leader now consumed by his greed, the vine's grip has slackened significantly, their movements sluggish and aimless. You're no longer restrained, giving you the chance to act freely. You can reach for your knife to use it against the book or the cult leader. The shadowy hand in the sky flickers, its form unstable, as the eldritch power begins to waver. What do you do? Grab your knife and strike the book to destroy it. Use the knife to attack the cult leader, eliminating him as a threat. Grab as much cash as possible before retreating. Leave the knife for now and focus on destroying the book another way. Write in.
I'm going to use my knife to stab the book in the spine. What skill should I use for this?
To stab the book effectively in its spine, you should roll Fighting Brawl to strike with precision and force. Alternatively, you could roll Strah to rely on brute strength to destroy the book. Let me know your roll and result.
I'll use the, let's see, strength or brawl. Fisticuffs with a book. I'll use brawl. So 76 or less. 13. I rolled a success on fighting brawl.
With the cult leader consumed by his greed, clawing desperately at the scattered cash, you seize your opportunity. Gripping your knife tightly, you raise it high and plunge it directly into the spine of the glowing book. The blade pierces the leather-bound tome with a sickening, otherworldly crack. The ground shudders violently beneath your feet, and an ear-splitting wail erupts from the book, echoing across the woods. The shadowy vines writhe in agony, retracting into the ground, and the pulsing glow fades into an eerie, lifeless dimness. Above, the massive, shadowy hand falters, its form disintegrating like smoke caught in the wind. The oppressive whispers cease, leaving behind an unnatural silence. The cult leader lets out a guttural scream, his decayed body twisting uncontrollably before collapsing into a heap, utterly lifeless. The forest grows still, save for the soft sound of snow falling around you. The book lies at your feet, its spine split, its pages smouldering faintly. Whatever power it held is gone, or at least dormant. What do you do next? 1. Examine the remains of the book to ensure it's truly destroyed. 2. Collect as much of the cash as you can before leaving. 3. Retreat from the woods and return to the others to explain what happened. 4. Collapse to the ground, overwhelmed by the enormity of what you've just done. 5. Write in.
It's kind of 4. I collapse to my knees in disbelief. Then suddenly one of the officers arrives, with their gun aimed, but confused at what just happened.
You fall to your knees, the weight of the night finally crashing down on you. The cold snow seeps through your clothes, but it's nothing compared to the numbness in your mind. The shattered book smoulders before you, its eldritch glow extinguished. The decayed body of the cult leader lies twisted and broken nearby, and the eerie silence in the forest presses down on you. Footsteps crunch through the snow, breaking the stillness. You glance up to see Officer Pike, his gun drawn and his face pale with confusion and fear. His eyes dart between you, the smouldering book, and the lifeless cult leader. What the hell is going on here? Pike demands, his voice shaking slightly. What the hell is that? He gestures toward the cult leader's corpse and the remains of the book. The officer's gun remains steady, though it's clear he's struggling to process what he's seeing. What do you do? 1. Try to explain everything, starting with the cult leader's ritual and the book, persuade check. 2. Claim ignorance, saying you barely survived and know nothing about the book. 3. Say nothing, letting the officer draw his own conclusions. 4. Plead for help, playing up your own terror and exhaustion. 5. Write in.
I'll look up at the officer and tell him it's over. I just want to get the hell out of here.
You look up at Officer Pike, your voice ragged and tired. It's over. Whatever the hell that was, it's done. I just want to get the hell out of here. Pike's gun lowers slightly as he studies your face, the exhaustion and raw fear etched into your features. His gaze flicks again to the smouldering remains of the book and the grotesque, lifeless cult leader. The forest around you is eerily calm, the oppressive atmosphere gone, leaving only the soft whisper of falling snow. After a tense moment, Pike sighs heavily, holstering his gun. Yeah, I don't even know where to start with this. He steps closer, his tone softening. If it's really over, then yeah. Let's get out of here. He offers you a hand to help you up. Come on. We'll figure out what the hell to tell Murray and the others later. What do you do? 1. Accept his help and leave the woods with him. 2. Refuse his help, insisting on grabbing as much cash as you can before leaving. 3. Ask him to leave you alone for a moment to collect yourself. 4. Suggest checking the cult leader or the book's remains before leaving. 5. Write in.
I'll let him help me up and perhaps mention that I need to go see the others, or at least rest in the hotel lobby. But I also look back at the cash while I decide if I should leave it or take some. The cop also looks at the cash while we walk back. Oh.
You take Officer Pike's hand, letting him pull you to your feet. Your legs feel weak, and the weight of the night presses down on you as you glance back at the scattered cash. Its crisp edges are dusted with snow, still glimmering faintly under the dim light filtering through the trees. As Pike steadies you, his gaze follows yours to the cash. His eyes narrow slightly, and you can almost see the conflict playing across his face. That's a lot of money, he mutters under his breath, his tone unreadable. Was that his? He nods toward the cult leader's lifeless body. The two of you begin walking back toward the hotel, the eerie silence still clinging to the air. Pike glances at you out of the corner of his eye. What do you plan to do with it? He asks cautiously, clearly trying to gauge your intentions. What do you do? 1. Tell him you'll leave the money. It's too dangerous to take it now. 2. Say you'll take some of it, arguing it's the least you deserve after everything. 3. Deflect the question, saying the cash doesn't matter anymore. 4. Offer to let the police decide what to do with it. 5. Write in.
I tell him that I assume that you guys will have to handle it as evidence if there is a crime here.
You glance at Officer Pike, your voice calm but firm. I assume you guys will have to handle it as evidence, right? If there's a crime here, it's part of that. Pike looks back at the scattered cash and nods slowly, his expression hard to read. Yeah, I guess so. This whole thing is going to take a hell of a lot of explaining, but evidence is evidence. He lets out a heavy sigh, his shoulders slumping slightly. I'll radio Murray about it when we get back. The two of you continue through the snow, the glow of the hotel coming into view. Pike's demeanor seems more grounded now, though he occasionally glances back toward the woods, as if expecting something else to emerge. When you reach the edge of the parking lot, he stops and looks at you. Get inside. Get warm. You've been through hell tonight. I'll deal with the rest of this mess. What do you do? 1. Head into the hotel lobby to rest and regroup with the others. 2. Ask Pike what he plans to tell his superiors about the night's events. 3. Offer to stick around to explain things to the other officers and witnesses. 4. Decide to leave the scene entirely, heading back to your car. 5. Write in.
Well, this might be the end, because we defeated the big cosmic entity or the bad guy, but we can do some closure, a happy ending, I guess, some method of it. We can simply do a time jump from when our character recovers and we actually go up north, further up north to Wyoming or something, and meet with our dying former teacher in their deathbed or some kind of dramatic ending. So let's see what we can do here. Let's do a time jump and explain what has transpired. Some good news, some bad news, closing up any loose threads. But ultimately, I will end up going further north somewhere in Wyoming, a small town, or a hospital, meeting with Dr. Brown, my former teacher who's dying of cancer, and speaking to them in their last minutes of life. Just make this kind of like a movie ending. There we go. Wow, that's a lot.
Time jump, wrapping up loose threads. The events at the Grey Inn left an indelible mark on Duskhaven. The police, led by officers Murray and Pike, recovered the remains of the cult leader and the scattered cash, but the supernatural elements of the night became the stuff of whispered legend. Officially, it was written off as a bizarre crime scene, a group of deranged cultists conducting illegal activities with no mention of shadowy hands or eldritch powers. You, however, know the truth. The destroyed book, the flickering cosmic presence, and the twisted, decayed form of the cult leader haunt your thoughts. Despite everything, you walked away alive, though forever changed. The stolen cash was confiscated as evidence, leaving you without a fortune, but with your freedom intact. The police never connected you to the crimes of your past, though the memory of your old team and their betrayal lingers.
Sequel.
Somewhere in Wyoming, weeks later, you sit at the bedside of Dr. Eleanor Brown, your former teacher and mentor. The small-town hospital is quiet, save for the soft hum of medical equipment. Her face is pale, her breathing shallow, but her eyes light up as she sees you. "Albert," she whispers, a faint smile forming. "I didn't think you'd come." You pull a chair closer, resting your hand gently on hers. "I wouldn't miss this, Doc. You're the reason I ever thought I could be better. I just wish I'd listened sooner." She chuckles weakly. "Life's funny like that. You always have time to regret, but never enough to change everything." Her voice softens. "But you came here. That means something." For the next hour, you share stories, your regrets, your struggles, and even your recent brush with the unexplainable. She listens with quiet fascination, her warmth and curiosity undiminished even at the end. As her breathing slows, she grips your hand tightly. "Albert, do something with your second chance," she says, her voice barely above a whisper. "Don't let the past keep you from the future." Her grip slackens, and with a faint smile, she closes her eyes for the last time. Epilogue. You leave the hospital, the wind biting at your face as you step into the Wyoming night. Dr. Brown's words echo in your mind, a reminder of the chance you still have to make something of yourself. You pull your coat tighter and look north, the horizon stretching endlessly before you. It's not over, not for you. The road ahead may be uncertain, but it's yours to walk. The shadows of the Grey Inn linger, but for now, they're just shadows. And the whispers, for now, they've gone silent. End of one shot. The Grey Inn.
There you have it. That's the closing. Well, actually, if we can do a after credits scene, can we show his old team that has been looking for him for stealing the money? They actually pull up to the diner in Duskhaven. How would it play out? Keep it brief. For the potential sequel.
After credit scene. The old team. The dusty rumble of an old sedan cuts through the quiet of Duskhaven's main street. The car pulls into the parking lot of the diner where Albert had his meal weeks ago. 3 men step out, their eyes scanning the surroundings with practiced intensity. One of them, a tall man with a scar running down his jaw, pushes the diner door open, the bell jangling as they step inside. The waitress behind the counter tenses as their presence fills the small space. "You see him?" the scarred man asks, tossing a faded photograph of Albert onto the counter. His voice is cold, threatening. "He was here, weeks ago. We know it." The waitress glances at the photo, her hands trembling slightly as she sets down the coffee pot. "Yeah, he was here," she says hesitantly. "But he left. Didn't say where he was going." The men exchange glances, their expressions dark. One of them smirks. "Doesn't matter. We'll find him. Always do." As they exit, the scarred man lights a cigarette, staring out toward the snow-dusted woods in the distance. He exhales slowly, a faint grin curling on his lips. "Keep running, Albert," he mutters to himself. "We're just getting started." The camera lingers on the shadowy sedan as it drives off into the night, its taillights disappearing into the distance. Fade to black.
Perfect ending. I love that post-credit scene. Even though this is a one-shot RPG, I have an idea to bring it for a sequel, and this is perfect because these guys, which was part of our backstory, were looking for us, or for Albert, while Albert was also an outlaw on the run from the law itself, which closed off. So, he's probably, maybe hands are clean for now, but he's a free man. However, these guys are still looking for him, and they somehow followed his tracks to Duskhaven. So the cloth thing and all that, it's all done, and I loved it. This was a fantastic experience. Didn't last too long, which I'm glad. This was a one shot, but I will definitely try to do a sequel. I will keep this conversation, this GPT conversation, open because all of it's still stored in here for the sequel. So let me know what you guys think. If you enjoyed it, and if you want me to do more AI-driven content for these solo RPGs, as I probably will anyways, because I really enjoy it. But I'll use other engines. We might use obviously we'll use Call of Cthulhu for the next one, but I will see what will be the next game rules we'll use for the next one shot. So, thanks for watching, as always, and I'll see you guys next time.